I know every operating
At my
system like
last
the
job,
back of
in
my
my current
hand.
role,
I when it comes to
25 years of
IT.
experience and have worked with several people from your company. I've been recognized for my passion. My team is everything.
LinkedIn delivers candidates who rise above the rest. With an up-to-date view into shared connections, skills, and interests you won't find anywhere else. See why 86% of small businesses who post a job on LinkedIn get a qualified candidate within a day. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/achieve. LinkedIn, your next great hire is here.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
Bored with your boring cardio? Stop pedaling that snooze cycle to Nowheresville and try some cardio that's actually fun. Supernatural Fitness, available on MetaQuest. Isn't that right, Jane Fonda?
Cardio will never be boring again.
Sweat to the beat of thousands of chart-topping songs inside stunning virtual landscapes.
Bet your stationary bike can't do that.
Visit GetSupernatural.com and join the next fitness revolution. Supernatural VR Fitness, only on MetaQuest. Rated Teen for Teen.
Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. You know, every now and then, when we review a film on It's Not That Bad, it's really cool when we stumble upon a movie that is the cinematic debut of an actor. And I personally always find it fascinating because it's nice to see kind of that humble beginning, if you will. And here to join me to go down a journey of humble beginnings is my very humble wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing today?
Humble.
Right? The most humble person you know.
Humble pie.
Right? Okay, so you're the one who brought this topic to the table of cinematic debuts. So when you were pitching this idea, did you have any rules that you would kind of set out in your own mind for this?
You know what? This was one of those things that I kind of said. And then when I started doing my research, I kind of hated myself for... Because think about it, right? It's challenging because most actors cut their teeth in television.
Yes.
And so that's kind of like where you get the first introduction. And so
occasionally.
For the most part, at least all the actors that I was looking up, or, you think back to like an earlier film that they did, but then you find out, nope, there were like two more that were previous
right before.
to.
Exactly, yeah.
So this was harder than I thought it was going to be, to be honest.
See, you're basically experiencing now what I experience every episode of There Can Only Be One, because I set the rules to the show and then you stumble upon an album and you're like, oh, I can only pick that one. I made the rules and I have to live by them. So I'll tell you my thought process as I was kind of making my picks is that when I say the word cinematic debut, that takes the world of TV out of it for me, because you occasionally have some actors that maybe started in TV. They did an episode here of this series, or they were a sitcom regular and then they made the jump to movies, which is possible. So I took TV shows out of the equation and I only dealt with movies that ended up in the theaters. So that being said, if someone's movie debut was a made-for-TV movie, I didn't qualify it. The movie for me had to be in the cinema. Now, it turns out that everything I ended up picking was in fact the acting debut of everyone involved. But those were that was my guideline of how I kind of approached this.
Ooh, intriguing. So are you saying that you picked a movie with an all-new cast?
Well, not an all-new cast, but the actors in question, it is their first actual acting credit, period.
Okay. One actor.
Well, in one case, it's two actors in the same
rare.
one. And in one case, you might even say it's probably everyone in the film. So, yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to go through this.
I'm intrigued. Let's move forward.
So, dear listeners, you kind of have an idea of what we're about to do. We're about to go through a list of films that are the cinematic debuts of at least one actor and pick 3 movies each. A keep, a watch, and a pass. The keep is one that, whether it's the work of the actor in question or just the fact that it's a damn good movie, it is top of the heap. The watch is one that, regardless of why it's a decent film, whether it be the actor in question or otherwise, we'd still watch it. And the pass is one, not necessarily a reflection on the actor in question. We are commenting on the movie itself. So, Carrie, I hand the microphone over to you. Your keep film featuring the cinematic debut of an actor.
Ooh, I get to start?
You're the one who brought this topic to the table, so.
Okay, well, I absolutely, it's no secret. I love the Harry Potter movies.
Well, duh.
And my absolute favorite character of all of the movies is Luna Lovegood.
Okay.
So I had to, of course, pick The Order of the Phoenix because that was Ivana Lynch's acting debut. And her story, I actually read her book, but the story of how she reached out to J.K. Rowling as a pen pal and landed the audition and like beat out thousands of potential actresses. At the time that she auditioned, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know that she was necessarily in the intention of going in the career path of an actress, but that definitely it solidified her future and her present. And she's gone on to do, I counted because there were so many appearances under her IMDb credit, but she's done, surprisingly, 10 movies, which is kind of cool.
I was about to say, how many of them actually qualify? I know we have one in our sights that will eventually be done, but how many of them do you think actually qualify?
Well, I was looking at the list and there's definitely some obscure titles or ones that I just don't recognize. So that doesn't necessarily make them a bad movie. And even if they qualify, I'm sure, as we know, we've built a podcast around it. I'm sure that there's good qualities.
I was going to say, we've been here for a while. We know that just because the critics don't like something doesn't mean that it's actually bad. We'll be the judge of that, and we have been for over 3 years now. And the cool thing, too, is that the fact that you chose Ivana Lynch's debut and didn't just go right to the beginning and went with, say, Emma Watson's debut, which was The Philosopher's Stone. So, it's kind of cool that you jumped in. Plus, let's be honest, Order of the Phoenix is one of the best films of the entire series.
That's a bold statement.
I said one of.
I still maintain that The Prisoner of Azkaban is
I know
definitely
you do. I know you do.
Favorite.
I didn't say it was the best. I said it was one of the best.
One of, yes.
Right? I'm very curious how they're going to cast this series. And we've talked about this before, so.
Yeah. It's still fresh.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's going to be fresh until they actually announce the cast, and then you're going to be sitting there and people, I can see it now, people are going to be holding up pictures of like the original cast member and whoever's going to be in this, no one asked for this HBO series, and start comparing and contrasting.
And
feel
that is so
bad for those actors. Yeah.
It is so unfair. But on the other hand, it's such a bad idea to try and remake it.
Yeah.
Like, the movies are iconic, each and every one of them. And do they mirror the book? No.
No.
Not at all. However, the visualization, like when you hear Snape, you think Alan Rickman.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear Harry Potter, you're thinking of Daniel Radcliffe's Harry Potter. Like, and any one of the decades of Harry or Daniel Radcliffe as he grew in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's you tend to associate a character with the actor that plays the character, and to change everything is, I think, I don't know, people don't like change.
Yeah.
I don't like change, and I'm having a really hard time processing it as a fan of the franchise.
The
So-
other thing too is we had 8 movies where the only time they ever changed an actor was because of like a passing,
Right.
and people were sitting there going, well, of course, right? This isn't a role like Superman where we've had a number of them, or Batman where we've had, or James Bond where we've had a ton of them, Sherlock Holmes, like great literary characters that have been around for decades upon decades upon decades. This is going to be the first new Harry, the first new Hermione, and it's going to take some getting used to, but I almost kind of understand, because like when you think about someone like James Bond, right? It was Sean Connery. Well, until it wasn't. And then Roger Moore steps in and he brings something new to the table, right? And it probably took some time for people to get used to the idea of Roger Moore, who is a vastly different James Bond than Sean Connery was. Doctor Who is a perfect example of this, because every doctor brings something new to the table.
Well, even Spider-Man, right? Like, and I love that eventually they kind of made fun of the concept that there were 3 Spider-Men and they were all in the scene together.
Right?
Like,
and they did the thing. They did the thing. They did the pointy thing.
yeah.
But yeah, no, like this is going to be the first time you have someone stepping into those shoes. And I'm hoping, I don't have much hope, but I do hope that people treat these, and they're going to be, you have to think, child actors. The people are going to treat these child actors with at least a modicum of respect, and not just, sitting there and act like they've ruined everyone's past and present and future. Like that's not on the kids.
Yeah. When I hear stories of just like the horrible things that Emma Watson went through in filming, like, and it's at that point you have to stop and think, these are children.
Yeah.
Right? Like, children first and foremost, and words can be so hurtful.
Yeah.
And I don't think that critics or movie goers realize that.
Well, take a look at Jake Lloyd from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, who played young Anakin. Pretty much walked away from acting after all of that, because, that was a ton thrown at him. And I don't blame him. Not in the slightest.
Mm-hmm.
So, dear movie fans, if you are fans, don't be given, throw whatever you want at like Warner Brothers. Like that's fair game. That's a faceless entity, right? But don't be hating on these kids. If these kids get a chance to play these roles, accept them and give them the space to do that work.
This episode is brought to you by Peloton. If you're looking for flexible workouts, Peloton's got you covered. Summer runs or playoff season meditations. Whatever your vibe, Peloton has thousands of classes built to push you and has something there to adapt with you, whether you need a challenge or rest. Peloton has everything you need whenever you need it. Find your push. Find your power. Peloton. Visit onepeloton.com.
Bored with your boring cardio? Stop pedaling that snooze cycle to Nowheresville and try some cardio that's actually fun. Supernatural Fitness, available on MetaQuest. Isn't that right, Jane Fonda?
Cardio will never be boring again.
Sweat to the beat of thousands of chart-topping songs inside stunning virtual landscapes.
Bet your stationary bike can't do that.
Visit GetSupernatural.com and join the next fitness revolution. Supernatural VR Fitness, only on MetaQuest. Rated Teen for Teen.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
All right. I'm going to be a bit of a basic bitch on this one, because it's no question that we are fans of one Mr. Kevin Smith. So we're going back to the quick stop in black and white, and we're talking about Clerks. Of course, this is the acting and directorial debut of one Mr. Kevin Smith, and pretty much the acting debut, if I think of everyone in that film, because this was like, I'm just going to get my friends, we're going to make this film, and this is how it's going to happen. And look at the progression of those characters, right? We've had 3 films now of Clerks. We've had multiple Jay and Silent Bob appearances in films. So for this to be the beginning of the Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, like one of the most iconic duos in modern movie history. And it starts with a bunch of credit cards and a ton of debt and a dream and a script and a quick stop. And look what we have now. Decades later, look what we have now. Like, literally, Kevin Smith did the ultimate, I'm going to do that thing, and did it. And I love that it worked out. Like, you go back and you watch Clerks, and it is infinitely rewatchable because the dialogue drives it so much. But I still love the film styling, too. The black and white, those moments. Like, just real moments. Like, playing ball hockey on top of a store. Like, you tell me you wouldn't play ball hockey on top of a store if someone called you up to do it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Right?
I mean, sure, being on roller skates or roller blades, I'd be afraid of like falling off the top. But yeah, I mean, that movie is also, it's so incredibly quotable.
Oh God, yes.
I'm not even supposed to be here today. Like,
I love the fact that in Clerks 3, how it kind of mirrored, Kevin Smith filming the first Clerks, complete with Salsa Shark. So that was actually like, I love how that kind of came around again. So really, Clerks is kind of the gift that keeps on giving, which is a good thing. So you knew I had to pick something like that.
I love that. That is an excellent pick.
My watch film, and I'm going to take a wild shot in the dark, sweetie, that this is a film that you have not watched, but I have, and it's a really, really good film. And it features the cinematic debuts of Melanie Linsky and Kate Winslet, who you'll remember from Titanic. This is Heavenly Creatures. So this is like a really, really dark story, directed by Peter Jackson and based on a real story. So Melanie Linsky and Kate Winslet play these 2 girls who became very, very, very close friends. And one of their mothers was leery of how close their relationship was and tried to pull them apart and keep them from each other. So the 2 girls didn't want that, and they ended up actually killing the mother. This is a real story that happened in New Zealand. And of course, Peter Jackson being a New Zealand-based director, filming all of the Lord of the Rings films there as well. I mean, you got Melanie Linsky and Kate Winslet, 2 incredible acting talents. Melanie Linsky, you might remember actually from But I'm a Cheerleader. She was in that. But it's such a very, very, I don't want to say it's a dark film, because it's a film about a murder, so of course it's going to be dark, but it's a very like blunt film, and it's really, really well done. And the fact that it's based on a real story makes it even more haunting.
Wow. Yeah, that's yikes.
Yeah, I'm bringing the mood down here, aren't I?
Ooh, I mean,
I went from a movie where you had someone going, "How many dicks did you suck?" to Heavenly Creatures, where like you have 2, very, very, very close friends, and they will do anything so they don't get taken apart.
Did they maintain their friendship in the in juvie? I'm assuming. How old were they?
They were in their teens. They were young. So this is one of those situations where, like, read the history of the story, because this is one of the stories that kind of shocked New Zealand, right? Because it became one of those, oh dear God, this is real life, and I think it was actually handled very well. Like, it's not, it doesn't sensationalize it, but it tells a very personal story. And it actually tells the story of the two girls. And so you can kind of almost understand why they did it, even though it's definitely the wrong choice.
It's almost very Shakespearean when you think about it.
It is actually. And it's a great way of putting it.
Like how many tragic, I mean, whether it be the love of a friend or a lover, like how many, family feuds have like forbidden people to star-crossed lovers or best friends.
Yeah.
To be together. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Just playing devil's advocate because I don't know the story, but I mean, if mom was trying to caution against this bestie that maybe didn't have the best intentions, or maybe there was just something off, and well, she gets killed. That's kind of a red flag right there.
It might be a red flag, but the thing is, the two of them did it together. That's the thing. Like
bad influence,
right? But I highly recommend because it is a fantastic film and it will draw you in. And
I am intrigued.
Yes.
I feel that I must watch it now because, I mean, again, there's two sides in the truth to every story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was tossing up two films for my watch. It was this one. And then it was Kids, which was the cinematic debuts of both Rosario Dawson and Chloe Sevigny. That one is also not exactly a happy film either. So I went with maybe the lesser known of less happy films.
Jeez, man, you're bringing me down, man.
Well, maybe bring us back up with your watch back here.
You know what? I think I will.
Okay, then.
Okay, so my cinematic debut of you're gonna have to help me out because I'm an idiot with a microphone and I can't read. Hooked on Pihonics.
It's pronounced Pihonics.
I am going with Miss Marvel, Iman Vellani.
Iman Vellani, yes.
Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel in the Marvels movie.
Yes.
Starring with Brie Larson, Sam Jackson, and
Teyonah Parris, yeah.
Many cats. And
tons of cats, yes. Right? No, not cats, flurkin.
That's right.
Gotta get these mother flurkin cats out of the space shuttle. Yes. No, I love what Iman Vellani has brought to Kamala Khan.
And she is so much fun.
Oh, she is Kamala Khan. And you have to keep in mind, too, that prior to being cast as Kamala Khan, Iman Vellani would actually go to Comic-Cons dressed as Kamala Khan.
See, I love that.
Right?
But was she also not in a TV series previous to her role?
No, I think this was her actual acting debut. But she was actually, if I remember correctly, she was in an acting school that was once attended by Hayden Christensen.
Oh.
Not together, but the same school.
Oh, fantastic.
Right?
I didn't know that.
But now,
very cool.
She's also on the writing team for the Miss Marvel comic book series. So she is literally Miss Marvel. And
tell me she's doing like the artwork too, because that was such a part of.
I don't know if she's doing the artwork, but she's definitely on the story side of things.
That was more the TV series.
Because if she's doing the artwork too, then she is utterly ridiculously talented and we have to hate her. No, I'm kidding.
She is ridiculously talented.
Well, yes, she is.
Mad respect, because that is very cool. Like to be such a fan and then to be able to be the character.
Yeah.
In the Marvel universe.
Like, again, it's one of those things where we were kind of, gushing about Kevin Smith and kind of taking that journey and basically doing the thing and achieving his dream. Here's Iman Vellani, who loved the character of Miss Marvel and then gets to become Miss Marvel. And the fact that the character of Kamala Khan is such a massive fan of Captain Marvel, and then her cinematic debut was in a film with Captain Marvel.
Right. Well, okay. Now, I know this doesn't qualify, but I do have to give a shout out to Echo and the actress who absolutely just was so incredibly
Cox, yes.
Brilliant.
Who first appeared in the Hawkeye series.
Exactly. But again, doesn't qualify because it's
a TV series, yes.
And she had her own TV series based on her role.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the character of Echo.
And this is perfect representation casting.
Yep.
Like absolutely to a T. And I know how much the Echo series means to you. And yes, I promise I will take you to a roller rink eventually. All right. Well, now we get to the downside of this, your pass pick.
Oh, back to me.
Back to you.
Okay, so in researching this one particular actor, I first have to say that this guy has been copping your style since like the early
I know
days
where this is going.
The early days of Rogers TV. So yeah, started with a TV series.
And now we're here.
Local homeboy Tom Green, and I really, really, really wanted Freddy Got Fingered to be his first first cinematic debut, his first movie. But actually, and I was pleasantly surprised to find that I can finally rip on Superstar.
Oh!
From 1999, he played the role as Dylan in Superstar. When I get nervous, I like to I put my hands in my armpits, and then I like to smell them. I had to like narrate the actions that I was doing, but yeah, that was a 2-hour movie-ish that should have just been
that you'll never get your life back.
It should have just been the 5 minutes on SNL and move on to the next.
Yeah, no, and I get that. I get that. And it's funny because I'm sitting there going, tell me Freddy Got Fingered wasn't his first film, because then I remember like it was Road Trip and he was also in Charlie's Angels. But yeah, no, I do get it. And yes, apparently. This also goes into the, oh dear God, why did they turn that sketch on Saturday Night Live into a movie? Like
Superstar.
That was barely tolerable in 3-minute sections.
Right.
And you want to turn this into an hour and a half?
Someone move it on to the church lady, okay? Just like move on.
I would rather watch an hour and a half of the church lady.
Because of Satan?
Satan? See, we need
not today, Satan.
We need the church lady to be the narrator for the documentary Hail Satan. Hail Satan! These are the thoughts that kept me out of the good schools. Luckily, you weren't in the good school, so at least those thoughts got me to you, so it's all good.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm going all the way back to the 80s for this one, and it's a comic book movie. Because, of course, I picked a damn comic book movie because I'm me.
How are you passing on a comic book movie?
Well, when the comic book movie in question is Red Sonja, then of course I'm going to pass on it. This was the cinematic debut of Bridget Nielsen, who, of course, went on to be in Rocky IV right after this. And if her cinematic debut was in Rocky IV, then I would have been like, there's my keep. There's my keep, because unironically, I love Rocky IV. And it's like one of 2 Rocky films that qualifies for the podcast, and I will defend that. I will take up pitchforks and defend Rocky IV with a Vince DiCola soundtrack behind me. That's how much I would do that.
Is it bad that I loved all the Rocky movies for different reasons? Like, I just really enjoyed the entire...
Do you remember Rocky V? Because I do, and I try not to.
Yeah, but you know
Tommy
what?
Gun.
You know what, though? I'm always rooting for Rocky.
Right? And I love Rocky Balboa. Like, if you, the dear public, watch Rocky IV and then you skip right over to Rocky Balboa, good. You've done the right thing. Just ignore Rocky V. It doesn't exist. That is, Rocky V to me is like Ghostbusters Answer the Call. That happened in a parallel universe, and it's not our Rocky. That's a multiversal Rocky right there. Tommy Gun. But no, part of the problem with Red Sonja is, A, it's not exactly a great film to begin with. But if you're going to do a comic book film about a comic book character, and you have someone in the role, and it's okay if it's their debut, which it was for Bridget Nielsen, then don't invite Schwarzenegger shortly after the filming of Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer into a role where he looks like Conan, but he's not Conan. And you tell him it's going to be, it's just a cameo. It's just a cameo. And after 4 weeks of filming, he realized that it wasn't just a cameo. And the film centered more on him than it did on the actual titular character of Red Sonja. It was more about Schwarzenegger as Kalidor. And it was one of those bad 80s films that is kind of comically bad in a way. I want to quote Maria Shriver, who was Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife at the time, who said apparently, if this doesn't kill your career, nothing will.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
The downside is Bridget Nielsen was probably the perfect actor for this role. She looked like a comic book character, like a sword-wielding, kick-ass, redhead comic book character. Bridget Nielsen looked the part. The movie didn't really help her. That's the problem. And then we all remember that she went on to, what was it, the Surreal Life? And a little thing with Flava Flav. Yeah, you're remembering that now, aren't you?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Red Sonja could have been really good, but instead it felt like they tried to put as much Schwarzenegger in it to try to make it make money.
She had red hair?
In that film, yes.
Ah.
Because, well, Red Sonja had red hair.
Well.
Right? So, of course, we're going to dye her hair red and make it, like, she looks like, if you made that film today, right? And I don't know who you'd put in that role. I mean, conventional wisdom would have people saying, well, you put Karen Gillan in that role. Teach her some swordplay and put her in. But if you put Karen Gillan in, my first thought is that, oh, it's a comedy. I don't know who you would cast in the role of Red Sonja today to make it a legit action film. I mean, don't get me wrong. Karen Gillan probably could do it.
She kicked ass in Jumanji, the dance battle.
Which was, of course, still a comedy. But again, Karen Gillan's also a very good dramatic actor. Like, if you've had a chance to watch the movie Duel, do it. It's good. It's really good. And The Circle, yes. But remember, she wasn't the main role in that. And even then, I was watching, I'm like, oh, you're Karen Gillan, right? Watch Duel. Duel tells you everything you need to know that Karen Gillan can do pretty much whatever the hell she wants, right? You know who else would be really good? Deborah Ann Wall, who most people remember from either True Blood or the Daredevil TV series. And of course, she's going to be in the new one. She would be fantastic as Red Sonja.
You know, it's funny. You're picking redheads, but
Red Sonja's a redhead.
I know, but there's this thing called hair dye.
Okay, fair.
And wigs. So if you're looking for somebody like athletic who could kick ass, I would put a red wig on Pink and put her in the movie.
Red Sonja is also very tall, and I don't think Pink is.
I think Pink is tall.
Not as tall as like Bridget Nielsen.
Everyone's taller than me.
Bridget Nielsen looked eye to eye with Schwarzenegger. That's how tall she was.
I don't think Karen Gillan is tall.
Taller. Tall-ish.
Everyone's taller than me.
I mean, we're not putting Sabrina Carpenter in there. Freaking Mighty Mouse. 4'11" Sabrina Carpenter is not going to be your Red Sonja.
Are you saying that I can't apply?
Although
I've got the red hair.
I mean, Red Sonja is tall. Tall. Even though you can dunk on Sabrina Carpenter, it's not by much.
It's all about camera angles.
Right? That being said, if you're in that mindset of, well, just dye someone's hair red, Taylor Swift is pretty tall.
She is, yeah.
She could do it. There you go, people. Let's give Taylor Swift a superhero film.
How about Blake Lively?
Blake Lively would be fantastic in that role, actually.
She kicks ass.
Yes, and yes. Or Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt would be maybe the best choice, because if you've ever seen The Edge of Tomorrow, Emily Blunt will kick your ass and then feed it to you afterwards. That's how cool and kick-ass Emily Blunt can be.
Yikes.
Well, that's what you need for Red Sonja. You need someone who's going to go in there, kick ass, take names, and then...
And shoot bubblegum.
Yeah, exactly. But there is no bubblegum in the world of Red Sonja. Because there were many swords.
That's very sad.
Yes. But yeah, no, so Red Sonja is my pass pick. So, Carrie, now that we've sat there and tried to recast a brand new should be filming soon. Red Sonja film. And by the way, Hollywood, if you do this, you're welcome. Please remind our listeners what your keep, watch, and pass picks are featuring cinematic acting debuts.
Okay, I am keeping Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which was Ivana Lynch's debut. I am watching The Marvels for Miss Marvel, Miss Iman Vellani, and I am passing on Tom Green's role as Dylan in Superstar.
Thank God his debut wasn't Freddy Got Fingered, because then the only thing I'd have stuck in my head is, Daddy, would you like some sausage?
Oh, well, you had
Daddy,
to go
would
there.
you like some sausage?
Again, that was my hope. That was my intention, that I'd be able to pass on that. But here we are.
I mean, we can still pass on it anyways, but, regardless of. Best point is, Freddy Got Fingered is a movie that exists. That's basically the only way you can describe it.
Can I just say, though, in defense, I'm not hating on Tom Green. I love Road Trip.
Yes.
I absolutely love that movie.
Yes.
Like certain roles, I can take him in short spurts.
I didn't mind him in Charlie's Angels because it was kind of funny that he was there. So yeah.
Well, yeah.
But
So I don't hate on him. I just really don't like Superstar.
Fair enough. All right. So for my keep, it's the cinematic and directorial debut of one Mr. Kevin Smith with Clerks. My watch film is the cinematic debuts of both Melanie Lynskey and Kate Winslet in Heavenly Creatures. And my pass is the cinematic debut of one Miss Bridget Nielsen in Red Sonja. Carrie, thank you so much for this. And dear listeners, we want to know what movies you would have picked featuring the cinematic debut of an actor. Hit us up on social media at NotThatBadcast or go to our website at NotThatBadcast.com. And if you are in the Whitby, Ontario area on February 1st, we are going to be doing a live taping at Five Paddles Brewery. You need to go to fivepaddles.ca and reserve your seat, but it is absolutely free. So come on out, enjoy the taping, enjoy the show, come say hi and have your voice heard on an episode of It's Not That Bad.
And also, Five Paddles has great beer.
Oh, such good beer. For the record, I am actually having one of those beers right now, and it is ridiculously good.
Oh, fantastic product placement. I love that you're actually drinking a Five Paddles beer.
You can't really say it's product placement because it's an audio-only podcast. Here, look at this beer. For all they know, it's PBR.
Is that the one that you got to brew, though?
Yes, this is actually the one I did get to brew. So there you go. I am drinking the Five Paddles ESB. ESB does not stand for Emotional Support Books, which is all behind me in our recording studio. That being said.
Emotional support beer?
Emotional support beer. Yes. Okay, so we need to make a beer. It needs to be an ESB. We need to call it the Emotional Support Beer. There we go. Done and done. Until next time. She's Carrie. I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.
Hey, this is John Moses and Tyler Morrison from the Fight Stories podcast.
And we want to welcome everyone from Pantheon to check out the podcast that goes from pros to average Joes.
We got MMA champs, boxing champs, NHL tough guys, funniest comedians in the world, and of course, stories from guys like your drunk Uncle Tommy on Thanksgiving.
That's right, because we're the voice of the streets and we want to hear from you guys, because what's better than hanging out with your crew and reliving the old glory days?
Stories like Rigby, who put that guy's head through a popcorn machine in front of his 5- and 6-year-old son while eating chicken wings at the bar.
It doesn't get any better than that. Everyone has a fight story. We want to hear yours.